It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Good morning, America. You're listening to America's Voice Now. We're in our third segment this morning. If you're on our newest station, Big Country 93, The Rooster, at 99.3 FM on your dial in South Central Missouri, welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. Appreciate you joining with us. We're grateful to the folks over at KUNQ. You know, Rick and Rocky are great fellas. They're patriots, and we appreciate their carrying the show. Okay, we're going to talk about, in this segment, the issue of immigration. But before we get there, I got to tell you, I want to bring you up to speed on one thing. I want you to mark your calendar because the U.S. Park Service is in the land grab for the scenic riverways. Again, they're trying to implement this 20-year plan. I've done a show about this, and if you want, you can find it on YouTube or on americasvoicenow.org. The National Park Service is trying to implement their Ozark National Scenic Riverways 20-year plan, and that would eliminate 65 miles of horse trails. It would eliminate unauthorized river crossings. It would require permits for horseback riding. It would eliminate motor vehicle access to the gravel bars. It would eliminate all ATV, UTV, and four-wheeler use within the park area. It would eliminate outboard motors in some areas and reduce the power of motorboats in other areas. It would pass regulations that would reduce that horsepower on motorboats. And they have no substantial empirical scientific evidence to back up any of their claims that all of that stuff is damaging to the river. What it really comes down to is it's federal control over a state piece of property. So there's two things you need to know about. One, you got to set your calendar to attend some of these meetings because we're going to go over there and we're going to raise holy Cain. Secondarily, we're also putting in place an active, aggressive, proactive response. In other words, we're tired of sitting here and being on the defensive. So we're going to go on the offensive. We're actually demanding that the federal government release the entire scenic riverways back to the state of Missouri. Get your hands off our land. Take your federal stuff, take your federal uniforms and your trucks and get out of here. We're going to turn it back over to the state of Missouri and allow the state of Missouri to control and operate and maintain the land around it and these rivers. It's time for the federal government to get out of our back pocket, to stop telling us what to do with our property, to stop allowing the Sierra Club to dictate the rules upon which the river that runs through our backyards is dealt with. The truth is, if the Sierra Club was so doggone good, and they're based in Kirkwood in one of the hearing locations, if they were so wonderful at their preservation efforts, why is it that all the people come from St. Louis down here? I'll tell you why. Because they've polluted their rivers so badly, you can't even go into them. The truth of the matter is, stay out of our backyard and start looking for the log in your own eye before you start looking for the speck in ours. So we need your attendance. We need you to go out there and help us protest at Van Buren at the Van Buren Youth and Community Center, 6 to 9 p.m., December 10th. Then on December 11th, there's going to be another hearing at the Powder Valley Conservation Nature Center in Kirkwood, Missouri. You know why they're holding it up there? Because that's the seat of power for the Sierra Club, and they can stack that meeting with a bunch of their supporters and say, oh, looky, using the Delphi technique, we have general consensus from the public. And see, the vast majority of the public wants us to take control of the rivers. It's all a lie, and it's a scam. If you don't know what the Delphi technique is, go onto your web browser and go look it up. I'll also, if you want, email me. I've got 3 articles on it. I'll email them to you. You can email me at mike@americasvoicenow.org. That's mike@americasvoicenow.org. Also, from 10 a.m. till noon on December 11th, in the Salem City Hall, there's going to be a Q&A meeting, and I want you to attend that. Isn't it interesting that the meetings locally here they're going to hold them at 10 to noon in the morning when most people around here are hard at work? This is a setup by the National Park Service to utilize the Delphi technique to build public consensus for a predestined, pre-agreed-upon outcome. And the outcome is going to be they get their way, and we just have to live with it. So we need massive support from the community to say, you know what? Stay out of our backyard. Stop telling us what to do. Get out. Now, the alternatives, there are three different aspects to this. And the alternatives are you can vote for they take no action. In other words, everything stays the same. And that's what we want. And the reason we want that one is because once this is solved and resolved, we are going on the offensive. We've already gotten a lot of our state legislators, our state conservation department, and we're now getting our federal legislators to get together and agree. Many of them have already agreed that if the state of Missouri is willing to accept the property back and take responsibility for it through our conservation department, they will make the demand that the federal government release that property back to us. That, ladies and gentlemen, is in our true best interest. If you have questions, if you need to carpool, here's a couple of phone numbers and emails you can contact. You can get a hold of Mike Slack at 417-264-2435. That's 417-264-2435. You can also call Don Eagleman. Don runs the Campaign for Liberty group. It's like a libertarian organization. Don's a great fella. And by the way, the Campaign for Liberty meetings are the second Thursday of every month, and you should be attending. They're at Chen's Garden in West Plains. Don Eagleman, if you want more information about this and you want to attend these hearings, call him, or you can call him about going to a Campaign for Liberty meeting. 417-372-7112. That's 417-372-7112. Or you can email Don Eagleman, and it's spelled like the bird eagle with M-A-N at the end. So it's Don, D-O-N, Eagleman @gmail.com, or you can send me an email at mike@americasvoicenow.org. All right? Make sure that you are communicating with us, and we want to set up carpools. We want to make sure that we've got a massive showing here to protest and tell these people we're throwing them out, right? We want to make sure we make it clear. This is our property. It's our state. It's our land. You have no say in how we deal with this. This is our property, and you're not going to impose some 20-year plan that demands what we can do with our own property. All right. The second issue we want to take into account here is, by the way, on Saturday, December 14th, the Constitution Party is going to have self-governance classes, and they're going to be holding those at the Clearwater Family Youth Center in Piedmont, Missouri. You can attend that if you want to. It is the self-governance class, level 1, December 14th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's held by the Constitution Party, and Doug Enyart is going to be running it. And his information, if you want to call him for more info, is 573-223-7986. That's 573-223-7986. You can also email him at CFC, Charlie Foxtrot Charlie, at SEMO.net. That's Charlie Foxtrot Charlie, CFC, at SEMO, Sierra Echo Mike Oscar.net. Okay. Their website, by the way, is CPMO, Constitution Party, Missouri. All right? ConstitutionPartyMO.us. That's CPMO.us. Make sure that you're finding out what's going on with alternative parties, folks, because I can tell you right now, the Democrats and the Republicans have betrayed us a long time ago, and it's time we got rid of them. We need people in office who are going to act constitutionally, not based on whim, not based on the party dictating what they're going to do. They're no longer representing us if they represent the party, because the party doesn't have our best interest at heart. They have their continuation and their personalized and corporate and party enrichment in their interest, not you. You notice how they only talk to you a couple of weeks before election time. But after that, you're ignored totally. Or they just, cull you from the herd from time to time when you've outlived your usefulness to them. Okay, I promised that we would tackle the topic of immigration in this segment, and I've got 12 minutes to do it. You know, Boehner, the Speaker of the House, is just signed up a new worker. She is the advocate for his office, a new staffer in charge of immigration policy. And since Boehner controls whatever gets to the floor, we've got to watch what's going on here, because Rebecca Talent is the person he hired, and she is a longtime veteran of immigration fights, and she's a big believer in reform, including legalization and amnesty. Now, she used to work for John McCain, and before that she worked for Jeff Flake out of Arizona, both of whom were in approval of this treasonous Senate immigration bill. So let me tell you something. This doesn't bode well for us. The truth is, John Boehner has hired an enemy of the people of America to advise him on how he can get immigration through. Because these idiots in Washington think that if they can get enough Hispanic votes, if they can please enough Hispanic people by allowing immigration, they're going to get their votes. Nothing could be further from the truth. You see, the real reality is this, and Congress is unwilling to admit it. If they would only act constitutionally and in our best interest, if they would stop playing games, if they would stop capitulating to foreign interests, if they would stop capitulating to the lobbyists who pay them and actually start representing us, we'd support them unequivocally, and they'd win every time. But instead of acknowledging the mistakes they've made and correcting them, they continue down the path of stupidity, and they keep trying to find and figure out new ways at which to add voters. The truth is, there's more than enough people out there that would say, you know what? If the Republicans are going to start acting constitutionally, I'll start supporting them, including the vast majority of independents. But they don't want to talk about that. You know, it reminds me of the education system. Oh, they keep trying these new experiments in education. They've been doing this crap since the 50s and 60s. Well, guess what? There was just an international test the other day, and Americans were in the bottom 20% for math and science, and we just came in average at history and literature. The truth is, all these experiments haven't accomplished a doggone thing. They've taught our kids to be a bunch of self-esteem-seeking idiots. They don't use any critical thinking skills, and frankly, they're not equipped to move on in the world. Our education system hasn't gotten better in the last 40 years. It's gotten significantly worse. The truth is, stop at the experiments and go back to what we know works. And it's the same thing with the Republicans. Stop pussyfooting around here and start doing what you know works. It's called living within the boundaries of the Constitution that you swore an oath to uphold. Now, Eric Cantor, another traitor. Oh, by the way, I'm not done with Boehner yet. Let me go back. Boehner is telling Congress, telling business interests in Texas that he's going to put up immigration reform for a vote, but he's only going to do it after the filing deadlines have passed for people to run against him and all the other Republicans in Congress. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, that tells you what a scheming, conniving, sneaky, dirty, carpetbagging piece of garbage Boehner really is. You see, he's not interested in doing what's right. He's interested in finding the shortest way he can scheme and connive his way to what he wants to accomplish, which is to pass immigration so he can say, see, look at what we did for you, now vote for us, to keep the party in power. It isn't about what's right for America. Corporate interests are paying Congress literally hundreds of millions of dollars. Why? Because they want cheap labor. They say, well, there's all these jobs we have to fill. Well, guess what? There's 50 million Americans who are out of work. 90 million, actually, if you look at the numbers on usdebtclock.org. Are you telling me that none of those 90 million people are qualified to do the job? No. Here's the real reason that corporations and corporate America wants immigration. They want cheap labor. And if they institute a whole bunch of illegal immigrants who now become citizens and are qualified to work, and they go to them and they say, Listen, you can have this job for $12 an hour, which they used to have to offer $18 an hour for. Then they're going to force you to accept $12 an hour too, just to compete. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the real truth behind immigration. And everything else is marketing lies. That's the truth. Corporate America is not interested in what's good for America. They're interested in what's good for their bottom line. And they're willing to betray the nation that gave them their start, enabled them to be successful, and has quite frankly put them in the catbird seat by buying their products. And now they're willing to betray you and sell you out because they no longer need you. That is beyond comprehension, but it's the truth. Think about it. That is what you will come to. That's the conclusion you will come to when you really look at this. You see, it doesn't matter what all the marketing nonsense is that they throw in front of you. That's the magician's sleight of hand. That's him keeping your eye occupied while his other hands are doing something else behind his back that you can't see. What's really going on here is corporate America, and these are the giant technology companies in Silicon Valley. These are the manufacturing companies that are in your town and in cities around the country. What little bit we have left. These are the paper pushing companies that are service industry companies. They want to hire telephone operators who they don't have to pay $14, $15, $16, $18 an hour to. And they know that an influx of 25 million brand new, freshly minted Americans will take those jobs for a whole lot less. Because it gets them out of a kitchen where they're working illegally, or it gets them out of the field where they're picking cotton, or they're picking vegetables. You see, the game afoot here is simply this. Corporations are pounding Congress, and they're using their money to accomplish that task. They're loading up their re-election coffers with money. Lobbying, bribing, conniving, scheming. And Congress is turning around and telling you, listen, the real reason we're doing this is because if the Republicans don't get the Hispanic vote, we'll be locked out. That's not true. That's not true at all. The real truth is they've been paid by their masters to do something. And now they're going to force it down your throat because they've got to accomplish the task they've already been paid to do. The real truth is, I'm okay with resolving the problem of what we've got with immigration here in this country. I recognize they tell us it's 12 million. Everybody knows it's really closer to 25 or 30 million. And anybody who lives in the Southwest will guarantee that number. So here's the solution. Everybody needs to tell Congress the same thing. No immigration whatsoever until the following things have happened. And you do it in piecemeal small bits. Here's what we do. First and foremost, we shut the border so tight that a gnat can't get across. We lock that border down. And we independently verify that it's been locked down by somebody who's not benefiting by telling you lies, like the Department of Homeland Security. They're telling us that the border is securer now than it's ever been. That's a crock. It's a lie. It's nowhere close to it. Ask anybody who lives in the Southwest or anywhere near the border. They'll tell you the Border Patrol is telling us it's a lie. Border Patrol, by the way, is against this immigration policy. So here's the deal. We lock down the border legitimately, permanently, hard. Put military troops on it. All these guys coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq, guess what? They're hardened combat veterans. Put them down there on the border. And the order is, you can't come across. End of argument. We've done that in separating North and South Korea along a 160-mile front, and we've been doing that for 60 years. And a mouse can't cross that border. So you can't tell me it can't be done. And then, after that has been done and the border has been sealed, you open up a 1-year immigration registration period. If you are here illegally, you have 1 year to step forward and register and come out of the shadows. And you say, here I am. My name is whatever my name is. I'm registering because I want to be accepted and I want to stay. If you're unwilling to do that, then that tells me that you really don't want to follow our rule of law. You register, and that means you go to the back of the line, That means that you also have to pay a fine. That means you have to start paying taxes. You're on probation, if you will. And if at the end of that 1-year registration period, you have not registered and we discover you, whether we pull you over or you're involved in an altercation or we find out some way that you are still here and you have not registered, immediate exportation or deportation. Now, well, you're going to break up families. Hey, listen, you've been given a year to come forward. And the way to keep your family intact is to come forward and say, hey, listen, we're the Gutierrezes and we're going to all register. There's 5 of us living here. And we'll let you stay. But you're going to have to pay the price. And you're going to have to go through the motions that you should have gone through to get here in the first place. Only then, and only then, can we have any discussion about what the terms of paying that price should be. You see, I'm not heartless. I don't want to see people ripped apart, and I don't want to see families torn apart. But this lawless nonsense about the president passing or making dictatorial orders that these people can stay and these people can't and all of that nonsense, listen, that's an act of a dictator. We need to do this right, and we need to do it slowly. We don't need a comprehensive immigration package. We need to take steps and watch the result of those steps and then act in the next step. That's how you do it. If you want to climb down from a steep area that you are at to get to the bottom, what do? You move one step at a time, carefully. You don't jump. If you jump, you will get to the bottom, but you may not like the way you got there, and you may not like the condition you're in at the bottom. But if you carefully, slowly work your way down that cliff, you'll get safely to the bottom. And that's the problem. Congress never wants to do it like that. They want to thump it all together into this comprehensive package, an omnibus act. Anytime you hear the word comprehensive and omnibus, know that you are being sold out. Because they laden it up with pork and a bunch of nonsense that nobody ever reads, and then they pass it, and now we got these brand new laws, and then we allow all these extra constitutional administrative agencies to build the rules around which that law is implemented. Think Obamacare. They're going to do it to you again, but this time they're going to do it to you with immigration. And I'm telling you that is not good for America. There is a way to resolve this problem. And then going forward, our immigration policy should be real simple. You get advancement in the line if you're bringing something to our country. But if you're coming here to simply be a tick on our resources, hey, listen, we really don't have a whole lot of need for that. We got plenty of that already. But if you're coming here and you've got a degree, or you want to invest money, or you want to sit here and run a business where you're going to hire people, now we got something to talk about. That's the true best interest of America. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to tackle our fourth and final subject for today. Freedom for security, as noted by Benjamin Franklin, is a fool's game. We've been playing it for a long time. I'm going to explain to you how it becomes a suicide pact. This is a very, very important segment of this program. Make sure you don't miss this. And if you're watching it, share this with everyone you know. We'll be right back.